Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Abington's Historic Preservation Review Board regular meeting. This is a citizen board appointed by the Town Council to interpret and uphold Abington's Historic Preservation Ordinance, which is Chapter 44, Section 2-4 of the Abington Zoning Ordinance that protects the Historic District of Abington, which has been designated the Old and Historic District, along with all of its contributing resources, including its building, structures, and sites, from negative encroachment resulting from inappropriate construction, design, alterations, or demolitions. Our review process is guided by our own design review guidelines, which are based on the United States Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation. Our aim on this board is to provide a positive bridge between the design review process and property owners seeking to make changes, working together through the natural partnership that exists between us for mutual good. The result will be to ensure Abington's Historic District continues as a valuable asset and one that makes Abington a good place to live, to work, and to visit. We appreciate your interest, and we encourage public participation in our meeting. Your comments are important to the decision-making process. Anyone who addresses the board will please approach the podium and identify your first and last name and give your complete mailing address. So with that, I think we will begin. And before we have roll call, we have an amendment to the agenda that has been presented.
I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda the request for a certificate of appropriateness for site and exterior chambers. Do I just need to just add this, or do I need to say the address too?
You could just say for the train depot.
For the train depot.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to amend the budget to add number 5 on our agenda, which is a request for a certificate of appropriateness from the town of Abington for a project in the Depot Square. There's a motion that's been made by Ms. Pillion.
I'll second it.
Okay, Ms. Hartshorn has seconded the motion. Roll call.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
Mrs. Bond is not here. So,
Okay, all right. All right, with that, we'll go to roll call for the meeting.
yep. Mr. Boyd?
Here.
Mrs. Pillion?
Here.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Here.
Mrs. White?
Here.
And Ms. Bond is absent.
Okay, the first order of business will be approval of our minutes of the last meeting. The meeting was on March the 5th. There was a work session, and then there was a regular meeting. So we have 2 sets of minutes here. I hope everybody has had time to review them. And if so, I would like a motion to approve those minutes.
I have one change.
Okay. Ms. Hartshorn has a change to be considered.
On page 1, under the subsection signs, that first sentence isn't very clear. I just wondered if we could clean that up a little bit.
Yeah, we can just say that 1945 was an arbitrary year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It's not that, it's the whole syntax.
Yeah,
There was
like
questions by the year 1945.
Oh, there was a
Like
question.
just the way it's written.
Yeah, we can change
Just clean that up a little. Okay.
Okay. Any other changes? Okay, with that one change, and was this to the work session
That was
minutes?
to the work session.
To the work session minutes? I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes with that one change.
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Hartshorn made the motion to approve those minutes with that one change. Second, Peyton Boyd has seconded the motion. Any further questions or comments?
So I will have to abstain because I was not present.
All right. Okay, all right. Roll call.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion, abstain.
Abstain.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Aye.
And Mrs. White?
Aye. Okay, the second set of minutes is for our regular meeting that same day, March the 5th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 5th meeting, regular meeting.
Okay. They've been, a motion has been made by Mrs. Hartshorn to approve the minutes of the March 5th meeting as presented. Second?
I'll second.
Peyton Boyd will second that motion. Any further comments?
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion?
Abstain.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Aye.
And Mrs. White?
Aye. All right, on to the business of the day. Our first application is from Abingdon Cleaners, 371 East Main Street. Could we have a staff report?
Yes. So Abingdon Cleaners applicant and Jessica Cook, representative, have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness to allow an unapproved 7-foot, 10-inch by 4-foot, 4-inch by 1-foot traditional style awning onto the south primary elevation and an unapproved 8-foot by 5-foot by 3-foot traditional style awning onto the east or secondary elevation. Both unapproved traditional style awnings have an unpainted aluminum frame and use a tan colored fabric for the cover. The property is located at 371 East Main Street. Some background. The building addressed 371 East Main Street consists of exposed CMU block walls with a brick veneer applied to the south primary elevation. The building is a non-contributing resource within Abingdon's local historic district. According to the Department of Historic Resources, DHR VCRIS database, the exposed CMU block building with a brick veneer applied to the south primary elevation is not listed in any of Abingdon's DHR designated historic districts. And according to the Washington County Land Card, the building address 371 East Main Street was built circa 1959. So this is not a contributing building, it's just within our historic district as a non-contributing resource. Excuse the blurriness of the picture, it was from Google Street View, but just to show you what was previously there. The applicant proposes for the allowance of an unapproved 7-foot, 10-inch by 4-foot, 4-inch by 1-foot traditional style awning onto the south primary elevation and an unapproved 8-foot by 5-foot by 3-foot traditional style awning onto the east secondary elevation. Both unapproved traditional style awnings have an unpainted aluminum frame and use a tan colored polyester reinforced PVC fabric fabricated from Weblon Coastline Plus. Based on Google Street View photos taken in September 2024, as you can see one here, there was what appeared to be two existing painted white unidentified metal covered traditional with valance style awnings located over the south primary entrance and secondary entrance located on the east elevation near the southeast corner of the building. Both previous awnings frames consisted of a painted white unidentified metal to match the color of the awning cover and the painted white wooden door frame and trim around the south primary and east secondary entrances. The previous awning cover over the south primary entrance was anchored into the painted white wooden door frame, whereas the previous awning over the east secondary entrance was anchored into the CMU block mortar joints. So this is just a photo, excuse the blurriness, it's from Google, but this just shows the awnings that were here at one point in their kind of profile. The unapproved traditional awnings are slightly bigger but comparable in size to the previous traditional with valance style awnings. While on-site town staff could determine the unapproved awnings had been mounted to the brick and CMU block elevations mortar joints appropriately. The differences between the unapproved and previous awnings are the following. The previous awnings exhibited traditional with valance style, whereas the unapproved awnings are a traditional style with no valance. The previous awnings cover material appeared to be a painted unidentifiable metal, whereas the unapproved awnings cover is polyester reinforced PVC fabric. 3, the previous awnings cover color was white, whereas the unapproved awnings color is tan. The previous awnings unidentified metal frame was painted, whereas the unapproved awnings aluminum frame is left unpainted. And 5, the previous awning over the south primary entrance was anchored into the wooden door frame, whereas the unapproved awning is anchored into the mortar joints and door frame. So this is what the primary one looks like. That's the secondary. This just shows you where it was anchored into. It is anchored into the mortar joints, how we usually want awnings and signs to be when they're into masonry buildings. And this just shows where the frame was before. I had one staff recommendation for this, but after talking with the representative for the applicant, they've already made this and done this. So my recommendation was the anchor points left from the previous awning be patched with wood epoxy, tooled and painted white to ensure moisture or insects do not penetrate the existing painted white wooden door frame on the south primary elevation. They've already done this. It's already been completed, and as you can see here, they've been wood epoxied over and painted and patched, so to ensure no moisture or insects get in there into that frame. So Once again, this is a non-contributing building. The awning does match to kind of what we would want in terms of the style of an awning and the material. And that's all I have for you. If you have any questions for me,
Okay.
more than happy to answer. If not, the applicant's here.
Okay, the applicant is here. All right, please join us. Thank you.
Hello. Oh, you're welcome. My name is Jessica Cook, and the address is 15775 Porterfield Highway, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210, from Jerry Signs.
All right, from Jerry Signs. You're from Jerry Signs?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you're not the owner of the cleaners?
No,
No.
we are the awning
Okay,
maker
the
for
awning
the
maker,
owner of the
right.
cleaners.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right, all right. Would you like to comment on anything or explain anything further?
I'm sorry that the awnings are installed presently, and we're happy with whatever decision the board makes. We're
Okay.
here
That's
to make
good.
sure that everything is okay
Right.
and gets approved.
I have a question about the picture that we have with the three on the southeast. Is there a third awning on that building, or what is that?
There is a third. It's a retractable awning
Okay.
that she really wanted to keep for her employees that they really love, and there was just a little bit we could do to help it, but
Has
it
that
is
been
in
approved
It
or-
hasn't been changed.
pretty bad
Okay.
shape.
I think they use that for picnics and things like that. Okay.
Her employees really loved
Yes.
to have it, so
And it's in good enough shape to keep?
we reattached it and straightened it for her, and I'd say there's some things that we could do to kind of keep it for a little bit longer for her.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions? Peggy? Amanda, any other questions for you? This, it should be pointed out that this block has just recently been taken into the historic district. And so you have an unapproved action, but it's understandable why you did that. Yes. Okay, no more questions?
It's also to be reminded that it's a non-contributing building in
Yes.
the district.
Yes, Gabe brought that up. It's a non-contributing building also.
Okay.
Okay, all right then. If there are no further comments or questions, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application as presented.
All right, Ms. Hartshorn makes a motion that we approve the application as presented. A second?
I'll second.
All right, second by Ms. Pinion. Any further comment? All right, before we vote, I'd like to see if there's any comment from the public. With no comment from the public, we can vote.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
and Mrs. White.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right then, second one is Bassett. Let's let Gabe first of all. give his report.
So we have Abdel Bassett Ayib, applicant / owner, and Bundy Architecture Engineering Incorporated, representative, have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness for an amendment to an approved brick veneer addition onto the south elevation of the existing building. The property is located at 134 South Wall Street. And I've also included the previous packet from the last meeting that they had before, so you could just reference it as you're reviewing this.
Right.
And so, as we've all seen, you've all seen the background, so this portion is one of the main parts of the building. It is the historic part of it, not unlike the rear addition. And so, getting to the amendment. The applicant proposes extending the previously approved brick veneer addition onto the south elevation of the existing building to the west, covering the remaining section of the existing non-contributing dyed orange concrete slab previously utilized as a patio. An existing concrete turned-down slab running along the edge of the property will be demolished, and a new turned-down concrete slab will be poured to support the proposed extension of the previously approved brick veneer addition. The new turned-down concrete slab will be left natural to match the newly poured concrete slab for the previously approved brick veneer addition. The turned-down slab will be 1 foot deep and have a bottom width of 1 foot. Cladding for the addition extension will include a brick veneer laid in a running bond pattern using a Portland cement base mortar to match the previously approved brick veneer addition laid in a running bond pattern using a Portland cement base mortar. Running along the roof line will be terracotta coping to match the terracotta coping previously approved in August 2024. The amendment to the previously approved proposed COA would eliminate the installation of the pre-finished black cloth L-shaped awning with an unpainted aluminum frame. So this one is already an existing awning that's here. This is what they asked for in August of 2024. With this new addition, this awning would go away. And this is what it would look like after it's finished. So you would just have a brick, same thing, same brick that's used for the extension, for the addition now, just extended to that corner.
With the same awning? Or
No,
awning?
the awning's gone.
No
The awning's
awning,
gone.
okay.
Additionally, the amendment to the previously proposed COA would eliminate the installation of the previously approved 3-foot by 6-foot, 8-inch by 1 3/4 inch painted black wooden door with a raised panel at the bottom to match the existing door on the primary west elevation of the existing building. Instead, the existing secondary south elevation door fabricated from a pre-finished black composite meant to appear wooden in texture with a raised panel at the bottom of the door, a rectangular casement window and frames fabricated from the same composite as the door would be removed to create a transitional point between the existing building and the proposed extension. So again, this door that they had previously been approved for will be eliminated. And this door here, that's an existing door, that's the composite,
Yes.
will be removed, and it'll be more of a transitional point from the interior, from moving from the existing space into this new addition. So again, this awning will be gone, this door will be gone, because that's what they were previously approved for. This amendment would issue them null and void, really, and the existing door here would be removed, and this is a non-historic door.
There is a door going, that we can't see, that's on this space there, right there.
That one they got previously approved for in August. That one's going to be
That's staying?
no, because the addition's going to be extending, so the door is null and void now. They don't
Oh,
need the
okay,
door.
all right.
And again, this is what it'll look like if you're looking from Brimsburg.
Okay. Okay.
So we can, if you have any questions for me, I can stop there, and then I can move on to the gutters and downspout section, or would you like me just to go through it all at once?
Probably let's go through it all at once, and then we go back and take it in pieces.
Sound good? So next, it's related to the gutters and downspouts. So the applicant proposes to install a secondary scupper adjacent to the existing non-contributing pre-finished white aluminum, 1-foot 2-inch by 1-foot 2-inch scupper located near the transitional point where the immediate building fronting South Wall Street connects into the non-contributing rear addition closest to Piggly Wiggly Alley. The proposed secondary 6-inch by 6-inch scupper will be 1 foot to the left of the existing non-contributing pre-finished white aluminum 1-foot 2-inch by 1-foot 2-inch scupper. The existing and proposed secondary scupper are or will be connected to the non-contributing masonry addition built onto the contributing building's north elevation approximately in 2019. The proposed secondary 6-inch by 6-inch scupper will not affect any portion of the existing contributing building. So this is that alleyway or small alleyway right between the applicant's building, which is Mamma Mia's, and the Mercantile. And so this is the existing scupper. There will be another one approximately a foot away, and it's typical that they have a secondary one. The only staff recommendation I had for this was properly anchor the existing pre-finished white aluminum 1-foot 2-inch by 1-foot 2-inch scupper downspout strap back into the non-contributing CMU north elevation wall. I noticed that this strap it's not really attached to the wall, so to have that properly attached back into the wall. And then the other one is the proposed 6-inch by 6-inch secondary scupper be pre-finished white aluminum to match the existing non-contributing pre-finished white aluminum scupper and downspout. So again, that's just to keep that consistency in terms of aluminum and color. And it doesn't impact anything. When you walk by and even look down there, you can't even tell it's there because it's white and it kind of blends.
We're looking at this from the back, yeah.
Yep. Next, before relocation of the gas meter occurred to accommodate for the construction of the brick veneer addition onto the south elevation of the existing contributing building, the gas meter was located within the non-contributing patio area as shown in the June 2024 Google Street View below. So usually with these, we have these be screened either by shrubs fencing, something to that effect, and it was pretty much screened on the patio, so there was no problem with it beforehand. Now, though, you can see that it's relocated, it's well in front of all the public. And there's really no great way to screen it with shrubs or fencing, so. Relocation of the existing gas meter has caused the mechanical system to be placed in a more publicly visible area, and typical screening such as fencing or coniferous landscaping cannot be used due to the new location. Instead, the piping and relocated gas meter should be painted black or white depending on the building's exterior, cladding, color immediately behind those components. To protect the relocated gas meter from possible vehicular damage, again, as you can see, it's really exposed. If a car just for some reason went over, it's hitting it. Painted yellow metal bollards should be installed into the applicant's concrete slab and not the town sidewalk, so again, just right here. Pretty much right here to protect it. My staff recommendations are the gas meter piping be painted black or white. As you can kind of see here, I kind of pointed out, there's black right here. This part be painted black, everything else be painted white. Shown on the photo herein to protect from corrosion and help blend the piping into the building. So again, this isn't just for aesthetic reasons, it's also to make sure the piping does not corrode. If desired by the HPRB, the gas meter casing be painted white to help blend the unit casing into the building. So again, this casing right here, we've talked with the gas company. They don't mind it being painted at all. It's like they said, whatever you decide, you can do it. Obviously, the reading unit would not be painted because you know they have to read it, but all the casing would be painted white to match the stucco. And lastly, painted yellow metal bollards be installed to protect the relocated gas meter from vehicular damage. So again, you want to make sure this is protected. If the car goes off the street, it's pretty much going to be right at that meter.
Yes.
And then, moving on, a few other ones. The applicant proposes the extension to have a low sloped roof to match the existing and previously approved brick veneer addition roof slopes and brick parapet to tie into the existing roof of the building. Terracotta coping will be installed along the top of the parapet wall to match the previously approved terracotta coping. Rolled rubber roof cladding will be used to match the existing and previously approved rolled rubber roofs cladding. The existing metal pre-finished white coping is not original nor contributing. Staff recommendations are ensured coping for the existing building parapet and proposed addition parapet matches one another, and the existing primary west elevation brick veneer parapet wall must remain unaltered. And then lastly, this was something staff noticed on site, and you can see a photo of it in your packet of the type of wood frame that was used for it. The applicant in August 2024 proposed 3 fixed double pane tempered glass windows along the addition's south elevation as shown in the rendering provided. Each window would measure 8 feet by 4 feet. According to the August 2024 submittal, the window's frame would be wooden painted black to match the existing window on the primary west elevation. Each window would have a brick veneer sill with the bricks oriented to be stretchers. While on-site town staff observed each window frame was not wood but a composite with a texture to have the composite appear wooden, as you can see in your packets there. The composite is pre-finished white and is not painted black as previously approved. Staff recommendation, the unapproved pre-finished white composite window frames be removed and the previously approved painted black wooden window frames be installed as intended to match the existing window on the primary west elevation in material, design, and appearance. That's all I have. If you would like me to go over any of the other sections, I'm more than happy to.
All right, I think that was a good overview. Thank you. Okay, so what we basically have are 5 components to this application. The extension itself with the doors being removed there. Number 2, something on the gutters and the downspouts, a piece of that. And then number 3 is the gas meter project. Number 4 is the roof, the new roof, and number 5 are the windows in question right there that were painted the way they were not supposed to be painted, not approved.
Wrong material.
So, therefore, let's take each one of these separately. I'm trying to figure out if we ought to collect our votes or if we ought to go ahead and. I think we probably ought to vote on them separately. Each one of them is sort of a complicated issue. Okay. So, would you like to come forward? Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone. No, thank
Hello
you
there.
for being here. My name
Yes.
is Bassett, and the address is 134 Wall Street.
Yes.
That's the business, and 628 Oak Street. That's where I live.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
Before
Why-
I
why-
st-
We can
oh,
take
sorry.
these first. Take the first thing about the whole primary elevation.
Okay.
Doors and so forth. Okay, as Gabe mentioned, the difference in, go over that one more time, that
Sure.
part, that one is particularly complicated,
So-
and what we're asked to approve.
Yep. So what you previously approved was this awning, which was L-shaped, touchscreen, and the door that was gonna be installed there. Okay?
Okay,
Now the applicant, because they're gonna be extending that addition
uh-huh,
towards the front, they're asking to just eliminate what you previously approved for that awning and that it's gonna be there. So again, these are non-contributing resources. That was
Okay.
something that you approved to be installed in August. And so you would just be essentially approving them to have that extension as all brick. as you
just
see
do
here.
something different, so you just would like to amend what we had already approved, because you have something different that you want to do.
Yeah,
And the point being made, this is a non-contributing building.
And
Well,
Yes, you go right ahead.
just, I
Yes.
wanted to clarify something
Yes.
for y'all. The construction still go, so anything that you approved, some of it, it's
would
not done yet.
would probably be.
Yes, some of
Okay.
it is there
Okay.
just temporary.
Okay.
And some of it, well, I just said, they're not done.
Yeah, very good, okay.
Yes.
But you would like to amend it now to do what's being
Yes,
proposed
please,
now?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Anybody have a question?
No.
Dayton, question? Question? All right, so why don't we vote on that one now? Okay, all right. Anybody from the audience have a question or comment?
One thing you might incorporate in a motion is these Bundy architecture drawings are quite thorough and explain this in very good detail. So we could reference those drawings.
Okay, all right, that's a good point. We do have the Bundy drawings in here that do give us a lot of information, which we could reference. Okay. So would we have a motion on this particular piece of it?
I make a motion that we approve the elimination of the door and the awning and with, filling it in with brick veneer as
So-
proposed in number 1.
Okay, so
Well, it's not filling it in, it's extending.
Extending it, yeah.
right, okay, so the
Extending
the motion is on the floor
previously approved
to,
condition.
Yeah.
to approve the application as presented that references the door and the awning and the extension as presented. Okay,
Okay.
all right. And so we have a second.
I'll second.
All right, Ms. Pillion seconds that motion. Any further comments? Any comments anywhere? All right, roll call.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
Mrs. White.
Aye. All right, onward. Number two are the gutters and the downspouts. And that has to do with properly fastening them and the color of them, I believe, is what you mentioned.
Yeah, so that was my second, so if you find that it's appropriate, you could just say approved as presented with the staff recommendations, or if you have something else you want to add.
All right?
Just to
Okay.
be painted what? The downspout?
The downspouts, yes.
White?
White.
They are already white.
Well,
I believe.
you're adding a new one. You're adding a second one.
Okay, that's what we're talking, oh, I
That's
didn't
what-
know we're adding a second.
Well, that
They-
was in our packet.
Really? They told me make that bigger.
No,
So-
they said you're putting a second one there.
Well, they're saying something different to you than
No.
what they're saying to me.
That's what they,
Well, I guess,
That's what they
okay, a
proposed in the
second or
plans.
make that bigger, makes no difference to me.
So it could
Yeah.
be either or.
It's just a hole and put
Yeah.
another one just like that. It's not a big deal, but just making two of them at the same place, I don't think so. It looks
It's-
good.
Is that a big deal?
it's typical for,
Yeah.
really, you should have a second scupper there. It's like a requirement. That's what, when I was talking to Bundy Architecture and Engineering,
Uh-huh.
and that's why they proposed on the plans there. This one for this gutter right here,
Yes.
this downspout,
Uh-huh.
is just to make sure that the straps put back into the wall. Nothing to be painted with the gutter or anything. You're just making sure that strap right here is pulled back into the wall because it's loose right now. It's not connected.
Well, no, I didn't know it's loose.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But I can fasten it, no problem,
Yeah.
no problem. It's just, my comment was on the downspout. Mr. Bundy told me that Mr. Rick said, you know, just make that bigger enough for the two flat roofs. And to me, as a suggestion, to me, I have no problem of adding either another 2 or 3 of them. But I think my suggestion, it will look a lot better to put one downspout and a bigger to host all that water from both roofs. So one, it's always better than put 2 or 3
Okay.
next to each other.
Okay.
It's just suggestion for me, for the look, that's all.
So you can word your motion this way if you would like. You would say, you know, we approve the application as presented with staff recommendations, and the applicant has the ability to enlarge the current scupper to meet building code.
So we don't know if it's a code right now.
No, well, you would have a second one.
Okay.
typically, So,
Well,
Do you understand that?
okay.
You might not be, you may be out of compliance
I don't-
if you have, just make the little one bigger. Is
Yeah, I
that
think
right?
it'll be okay.
Okay.
Make one bigger?
So the,
No.
so the
Oh.
motion can be that we approve this second part of your project, and with the assurance that it will be put in code, that it will meet code, the new downspout and scupper, okay?
Okay.
And whatever that means, whatever
Yes.
that is requirement is, okay?
Mhm,
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, all righty.
So we're going for 2, for a second one.
whatever code, whatever.
Whatever-
code
Whatever the
allows.
code says, whatever, just follow the code,
Okay.
okay? All right. Okay, so can that motion be on the floor?
Yeah.
All right, would somebody like to make that motion or say that motion? I will do that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Ms. Pillion makes that motion. Any further comment? Okay, second?
I can second that.
Okay, Ms. Hartshorn seconds the motion.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion,
Aye.
Ms. Hartshorn.
Aye.
And Mrs. White.
Aye. All right, part 3 concerns the gas meter. And the gas meter needs to be, you've already painted it?
Oh, wow, okay.
Okay, so it's painted white.
Kind of dark.
Okay,
All the way above the roof.
all right, so it's painted white, it's already painted white.
But I will give a recommendation, as I told him the other day. I'm not an expert on safety. However, everywhere I go, I see actions, people put stuff for safety. And I really do recommend, even though I painted it, and I don't want to paint it again, but it's just something like that that has gas. I think we don't want it to blend it in with the building, because once you blend it in with the building, then it will be just something part of the building. But we would like to put it, I would suggest to put it a different color, yellow, red, to just tell people that, hey, there is something here attached to the building, not part of the building.
Okay.
That's just a suggestion.
Okay, I think that what you were talking about, Gabe, is the fact that we would require the town to put some bollards around it.
Oh, other than that,
No.
this is a
But
different
in addition
story.
to that,
No, in addition to that.
in addition to that,
So what he is asking for, or suggesting, is that the gas meter be painted like a yellow or red.
in order for it to stand out.
It's a
But-
suggestion, I'm not asking.
Yeah, no, just a suggestion. The reason why we are recommending it be white is because it has, usually we would screen these types
Mhm.
of things from the roadway. This is so prominent that, that's why we said painted white. The bollards are meant for its safety.
Right, yes,
Because even if it's painted yellow and somebody goes over the
right, yes.
road, it's still gonna get hit no matter what color
Yes.
it is.
So would the bollards be yellow?
The bollards are yellow.
Bollards would be yellow.
Yeah.
And how many were you recommending?
1 or 2, whatever the code would need. I think we talked to the gas company too, and they would prefer it actually be protected.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree
that-
too. No, I
You
agree
also
too.
said that you've painted it to the roof line white, when the staff findings were you wanted to paint it black at the black part of the brick, where, on the picture here.
Oh, black at the,
The black.
so
against-
matching the building as
White
you go.
against the white and black against the black.
Yeah, no problem, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, just a spray paint,
okay.
gone.
All right. So, so I guess what's on the floor right this minute that we need to decide is if you painted it yellow and it would match the bollards and it would stand out.
Yeah, because the yellow would stand out from the building, and you
Yes.
wanna make sure that the gas meter blends into the building, because that's a form of screening.
Yeah.
We can't screen it with shrubs or fencing because of the location where it is, so the only thing is to
Right.
paint it.
So-
The bollards would be painted yellow for, one, to have it stand out, but also for a safety, for
Right.
it to be protected.
I think
Right.
that
So
would
the,
be
so
enough.
the question, for us is it a priority to screen it? Because we have to screen things like that, so.
I just didn't understand,
Is-
what do you
is
mean by screening?
Hide it so that you wouldn't see it. What you're trying to let it stand out in order, the opposite of that, we're trying to let it be screened.
Hide.
Hide.
Oh, okay.
Hide it. Hide it is what we usually do.
Let it
Yes.
blend in.
Although we don't wanna hide something like that.
But it
Well,
would
it's,
have-
it'll be
yeah.
the protection part of it will come
Will
from the
protect.
bollards.
Okay,
Yes.
I hope it'll protect,
Yes.
yep. We'll put a post in there, yellow as he said.
Okay. What'd you say?
I guess we'll put that post in there
Yeah, oh, yes.
Yeah.
that has that color,
Yes.
yellow or red.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And
normally yellow.
this would meet our safety codes and things like that to
Yeah,
let it remain
yeah.
white.
So Rick would provide him the standard.
Rick already
With the bollards.
spoke
Yes.
to me,
Okay.
Rick, yeah.
All right, then we need a motion on the floor for this piece.
If you would like just to say approved as presented with staff recommendations, since that's pretty much what the applicant's agreeing to and what you've already discussed, it's just an easier motion.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Ms. Hartshorn has made a motion to approve, as the staff has recommended, to paint it white, and the piping is being painted to match the white and then the black part. Okay?
I'll second that.
All right. Peyton Boyd has seconded that motion. Any further comment from anybody in the audience? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
and Mrs. White.
Aye. Okay, onward to the next one, which is the roof.
Would you like me just to kind of?
I would like to just go over that quickly, yeah.
So, yep, so pretty much the applicant, they're just asking for that coping that you previously approved in August to be extended along that extension. So the coping's already been approved, and the roof is already a rolled rubber, so they're looking just to match this extension of the addition's roof cladding with what's already been approved and what's already existing, plus the coping, which already has been approved in August 2024.
I don't think that roll roofing is gonna be visible.
Oh.
It is from the back,
From where?
the back.
The
But-
back.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last
You mean
thing, from the rear,
Windows in the hotel?
somewhere like that.
No, from the back, like Rimsburg and everything. And then the other one
No, it's
is
not.
the addition,
I don't see how it is.
It's not visible.
you can see.
The roof, the flat roof, roof, you mean the roof,
Mm.
behind the parapet,
You can
You
see it
can-
from Rimsburg.
from that road like that, right there?
No, the back, further back. You can see it.
That is Rosenberg,
Yeah.
Rosenberg.
When you get
So
further,
behind
You
the,
can see it back, further up Rimsburg though.
behind the restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay, which roof we're talking about? The new addition or the big roof, the existing roof, the restaurant roof?
the
this
roof,
one right
the
here.
roof that has already been approved.
The roof that's already been approved.
It's already been approved.
it's already
just
been approved.
It's
We're
just
just
being
going over it.
extended, we're just extending it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
And then the parapet that's at the front,
Uh-huh,
to have it not be altered.
okay. Okay. So there are really three sections of this. The coping, extending the coping that has been approved, extending the roof that's been approved the same way, and then the parapet.
Just ensuring it's not altered.
Okay, just keeping the parapet in place.
We're
What's
extending
below?
the parapet.
No, no.
You're not.
The existing primary
No.
west elevation brick veneer parapet, that's, let me go back. This one right here remains in place. That even though it gets tied in, this cannot be removed.
Oh, the front parapet.
The front one.
Oh,
yes.
this is the front parapet.
Well, it
Yeah,
should
of
say
course.
existing if it doesn't.
It does say, the existing primary west elevation brick veneer parapet wall must remain unaltered.
Okay. Okay, so there are the three parts to this one. Any further comment?
No, no,
Questions?
no.
Okay.
No, no, the
You're
front is not
okay?
gonna be touched at all.
Okay, okay, good.
It's just an extended to it, that's all.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Have a motion over here, maybe?
I make a motion that we approve that section of this project as presented.
Okay.
I don't know if it has a number to it.
I just attached it on
Okay.
before, but the way
Okay.
we're going out. This is the motion is on the floor to approve as presented and as staff has recommended that is extending the coping as already approved, extending the roof as already has been approved as you want to,
Yes,
and then the parapet, keeping the parapet in place.
yes,
Three
Existing
parts to
parapet.
this one.
the front
The
one.
existing parapet, yes, the front one, the
Yes.
existing parapet. Okay?
Yes,
All right, so anybody say okay to making that motion?
I did.
Okay, Ms. Hartshorn has made that motion.
I'll second.
Ms. Pillion has seconded the motion. All right, any further comment or questions? All right,
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
and Mrs. White.
aye. Okay,
Before,
all right, the last piece, yes?
before we do that, did we have to, make a motion on the concrete, or was that?
No,
we-
no.
And that is definitely not going to be orange.
No, it's gonna be natural.
Okay.
Always presented.
Okay.
So the last piece of this has to do with the square glass windows there that we approved earlier to be wood and painted black to match the front.
yes, ma'am.
And so what's on the table now is the request to remove what you've done that was not approved and put back wood that's painted black.
And I just want to clarify to
Okay.
to y'all
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't do that not to follow what they required, what they said.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it came in between, either we forgot about it, or seriously,
Yes.
or the guys who are doing that, they are going to continue and paint it black. So I do know that the white, it has to be black as the rest of the window.
Okay.
Just to clarify that point.
So the
'cause
color,
I don't want to be.
so the color is what you intend to change to black. Then it would be
Yeah,
just
to
the
the-
material that's in question?
Yeah. The material was approved to be wooden to match the other wooden windows, but now it's like a composite.
See, I don't think that's an issue.
All right. Would you like to speak to that?
Well, the appearance is, in the end, what we're really looking at, particularly in a non-contributing building. And if that can be painted with a good, long-lasting paint,
Yes,
I
it will.
don't see any need to require that those windows be removed and replaced.
Okay. Any agreement or conflict?
I'm
in
fine
that?
with that too.
You fine with that?
Thank you.
Any public comment on that piece of it? Okay, how about a motion?
Remove what I just said.
The board moves that we, the motion is to be sure that this particular, these windows are painted black as previously approved,
Yes, ma'am.
and is waiving the need to change the material from the composite to wood.
Thank you.
Which will last longer than the wood anyway.
Any further comment, question? Roll call. Oh, wait a minute, we have to have
I'll
a second.
second it.
Okay, Ms. Hartshorn seconds it, okay, now.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
and Mrs. White.
Aye. I think that might do it, does it?
Yep.
All right then,
Before I leave, I wanted to say something.
yes.
Of course, I want to take the permission from you and from the next person who has a case here, after your permission. And I'll try to make it as short as it can be.
All right,
A couple of days after you guys approved in the last meeting, no, I'm sorry, the last meeting you guys did a month ago. A couple of days later, I stood, if you can, I stood right next to that building right there. And I looked at it, and that's where I got the idea of finishing the veneer and all of what we talked about it today.
mm-hmm,
Unfortunately, I do these things very close in going back home every 2 years.
mm-hmm,
My home is not DC
Right.
or Tennessee. My home is Africa.
mm-hmm,
So the first person who I spoke to is Mr. Rick. And I approached him and I said, hey, I want to do this. Can you please allow me to do it without doing the footer and all of that? And Rick came in there and really very nicely and very politely explained to me, no, safety and all of that. And I went with it and all of that. And he said, go ahead and call for a meeting. It's better.
mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. But I said to him, the meeting only another month. And this happened after we built all that. Now, as of you know, most of you know that the flat roof, the PVC, when you do a flat roof, they weld it. And once they weld something, it is very hard to take it off and just go ahead and do another section and sew it to it or weld it to it. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be probably flaws out there. And so there started the issue of creating one after the other. And I spoke to the PVC guys. They said, Bassett, give the approval and let's do the whole thing at once. It's a lot better. So that means no PVC on that roof. That means every time it rains, that roof leaks. Every time it rains, I go up there on that roof and push that water of almost 375 square foot with the broom. Now, again, I am not blaming anybody. It's just we want to talk about it. So I went to Gabe and I laid the whole thing in front of him in that room downstairs. And I said, blah, 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 blah. And would you please email them, call them, however you contact the judges, and ask them if there is any possibility they can even review this online or review it. They can come over here, or they give you the authority to at least give me the decision to where I do the extension, and then we'll talk about the rest later on. Because a whole month for me to stop the brick guy, to stop that and that and that, all of those not very big of a deal. You can stop them, but the only problem is whatever you did in that room, sheetrock and everything, all got messed up from that leak. Not to mention, like I said, yesterday I pushed the water 3 times. And guess what? This coming Monday, I'm going to push it for 4 or 5 more because it's going to be a rainy day. Now, my point of this speech is not to blame anybody. I know you guys don't get paid for this. I know you are giving your time. You're taking time from your families just to come and make this little town, small town America, beautiful for visitors. I do know all of that. However, I want to be able to one day see my town stands up for me. Help me. Find me a solution. Make my life a little easier. Not much easier. No, a little easier. Given the fact that we're businesses and we are employing families behind us. So when I spoke to Mr. Gabe shows it to me and laid it to me as if it's like it's a red line to do this or to even talk about it. It really not shocked me because we're going to have a meeting and I'm going to get delayed and I'm going to get tired pushing water and it's going to be history. But what really, really got me here is the town that I've lived in it for 25 years. And yes, since the 2002. And I've worked hard. And I've helped. I'm not bragging about this. I'm just laying what happened in those 25 years. I've helped people. I've helped community. And I employed many, many, many people, and they have families behind them. And all of a sudden, a person from your town comes and block it in front of you, not even trying to do a least thing to help you. It really made me feel really bad. Now, let's look at the future and be positive. What I want y'all to do, if you can, let's talk about it, because in the end of the story, you're citizens, we're citizens. Why they are here is to make our life good and easier. So let's talk about it. Let's make the job of the town it's positive towards the citizen, not complicated, not blocking, not everywhere you go, no, 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 no. I can come to you 10 times. You can be tough with me 9. If you show me just your softness, just once, that will make me look at you different, even once. And that's what we didn't see. I would love in the future for you, and I'm almost done, to talk about it, to do some ideas, to where we do these meetings a little more often. My suggestion is for y'all to get paid. That way we can do 2 meetings a month. If you ask me, all the trouble I went through, if they tell me, Mr. Bassett, are you willing to pay those 4 judges for that time to come in? Yes, I will, and a big smile on my face. Why? Because it is not worth it for me to wait a whole month just to approve something like that, which is, I'm not saying that it's easy and small, to prove it, to then continue. All of that work, I could pay the 4 of you, even him, just to get on with my business in the middle of the month. Not to mention that in 15 days, it's not 15 anymore, it's almost 10 days, I'm leaving the country, going back home. I hope the future is better, and I hope you talk about it and you do something about it. And I am here to give my vote that anybody who wants an extra meeting that is willing to pay for it, yes, I am with that idea, no problem. But I wish in the future we citizens see a little softness from our town officials. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Bissett.
And have a great night.
We appreciate it. We
Yes.
appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. Okay. Onward? Next one? Okay. All right, our next application is from Zane Triplett with Foresta. Okay.
So Zane Triplett, applicant, and Jerry Signs Incorporated representative, have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness for a 5.5 inch by 22 inch equaling 0.84 square feet rectangular externally illuminated CNC carved HDU projecting sign with a blue background and white lettering set within a painted blue steel frame. Eye hooks painted blue are welded to the top of the painted blue steel frame. The proposed projecting sign will be hung from the existing 30 inch by 19.2 inch, 4 square foot externally illuminated CNC carved HDU projecting sign using a combination of eye hooks and S hooks subsequently hung from a pre-finished black decorative iron bracket using a combination of eye hooks and S hooks onto the north primary elevation. The color scheme of the proposed and existing projecting signs will match, and the property is located at 190 East Main Street. So again, this just kind of shows you if you're looking pretty much right in front of the courthouse at that building, here's the lighting that they currently have there, and here's the existing sign placement right here. This is just close above it. So this is already existing, it's already 4 square foot.
Okay.
Currently there is a, again, 4 square foot CNC carved HDU projecting sign hung from a pre-finished black decorative iron bracket. And the applicant is proposing to hang a 5.5 inch by 22 inch 0.84 square foot rectangular externally illuminated CNC carved HDU projecting sign with a blue background and white lettering set within a painted blue steel frame. Eye hooks painted blue are welded to the top of the painted blue steel frame, as you can see here. The proposed projecting sign will be hung from the existing 4 square foot projecting sign. And then the color scheme of the proposed and existing will match each other. Based on Chapter 44, Section 8-4-5-E of the ordinance, a projecting sign shall be a minimum of height of 8 feet from grade level to the bottom of the sign and shall not extend more than 6 feet beyond the face of the building or beyond a vertical plane 2 feet inside the curb line. Per the measurements submitted by the existing and proposed projecting sign would be 8.125 feet above the grade level. All other dimensional standards remain unaltered by the proposed projecting sign. So again, it meets that 8 foot that we need for people to walk under safely. Staff recommendations: all hardware associated with the hanging of the existing and proposed projecting signs, except for the existing pre-finished black decorative iron bracket, be painted blue, matching the color used for the steel frame, and eye hooks associated with the proposed 5.5 inch by 22 inch projecting sign. And then the applicant may install a painted blue steel frame around the existing 4 square foot projecting sign if so desired by the applicant. So I've noticed the applicant, as they've gone through, sometimes they do signs with the steel frame. This one, I'm not sure if it has or not the existing one, but we want to make sure we give them the ability to
Okay.
have that.
Okay.
If you'd like me to expand upon anything more, I can. If not, the applicant is here.
Applicant is here? Okay, come forward again then. Yes, ma'am.
So I mean to state my name? and-
Yep, no, you did it once.
Okay. Right.
Okay, all right, any questions anybody has?
I'm just curious, do they want the sign because people are confused about what the business is?
Zane asked for it because he said people don't always know he's a restaurant.
Okay.
And I wanted to be sure, since we're adding to an existing sign, that we did run that through the process to get it approved.
Good.
I think everything
very
with
good.
this application falls under our guidelines.
Yes, I was going to say, since it's a restaurant.
Yeah, it
This
doesn't,
one,
we can change
you
it.
can allow it to be a little bit
Right.
bigger than 4 square feet, so.
Right, plus we can have it be 2 signs per building, per business, okay?
And the writing will be on both sides.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So-
make a motion
All right.
that we approve it.
All right, a motion's on the floor from Ms. Hartshorn to approve the application as presented.
I'll second.
Ms. Pigott has seconded that motion. Any questions further? How about anybody in the audience? Okay.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
and Mrs. White.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. All righty. The last one here, before we do our one with the with our amended agenda, is from the Whole Health Center.
So Whole Health Center applicant and Donna Bossi owner have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness to allow a 2 foot by 2 foot, 4 square foot, square, non-illuminated, aluminum with applied vinyl graphics projecting sign and with a white background and various shades of green used for the lettering and logo. The proposed projecting sign will be hung from a pre-finished black decorative cast iron bracket using S-hooks onto the primary west elevation. A pair of painted green stencils will be applied to the west and south elevations commercial window panes, and the property is located at 122 to 124 North Wall Street. The building address, 122 to 124 North Wall Street, was known as Pierce Cleaners and was built in 1946. Here's actually a historic photograph of what it looked like before with its old sign and everything. The building is not mentioned in either Places in Time, Volume 1 or Places in Time, Volume 2. According to the Department of Historic Resources, DHR VCROS database, Pierce Cleaners was built in circa 1946. The 2-story, 3-bay building is built with the minimal influences from the Main Street commercial style. The contributing building possesses good architectural integrity, retaining its overall massing, original materials, and historic period windows. Again, this is just what it looks like today, so pretty much nothing's changed. The applicant proposed to allow a 2 foot by 2 foot, 4 square foot, square, non-illuminated aluminum with applied vinyl graphics projecting sign with a white background and various shades of green used for the lettering and logo. The proposed projecting sign will be hung from a pre-finished black decorative cast iron bracket using S-hooks onto the primary west elevation as shown in the photo. So again, it's be right here in terms of location, and this is what it looks like. Based on Chapter 44, Section 8-4-5-E of the ordinance, the projecting sign shall be a minimum height of 8 feet from grade level to the bottom of the sign and shall not extend more than 6 feet beyond the face of the building or beyond a vertical plane 2 feet inside the curb line. And it does meet this requirement of 8 feet or higher.
Okay.
There is an existing metal panel attached to the rear portion of the existing building, directly over a sliding door, as shown in the photo provided. So this right here, this is kind of that piece of metal. The applicant proposes attaching a 5 foot by 5 foot, this is 25 square feet, applied vinyl graphic to the existing panel. Staff were unable to find any documentation stating this could be an approved nonconformity, so we couldn't find anything where this could be an approved nonconformity in terms of signage, and 25 is bigger than what you typically allow. Lastly, the applicant proposes to paint a green stencil onto the west and south elevations commercial style window panes as shown in the photos below. Each window stencil will be the negative of the proposed projecting sign. So we've kind of seen these before, so just imagine all the white is gone and it's just the green that is left. The commercial style window pane has highlighted on the west elevation of the existing building located near the corner of North Wall Street and Plum Alley is approximately 8 feet by 5 feet for a total area of 40 square feet. And the commercial style window pane is highlighted on the south elevation of the existing building located near the corner of Plum Alley and North Wall Street is approximately 4 feet 11 inches by 4 feet 11 inches, giving approximate square footage of 24.17 square feet. So we've kind of allowed stencils to be used now for commercial buildings just because, as I think was mentioned in the previous one, they're airy and they're usually typically you see for commercial buildings. And again, this is and was a commercial building, and these are more of the commercial style window panes that you would see. Again, we wouldn't allow a stencil to be placed on a 4x4 or 6x6 window because it wouldn't look natural and it wouldn't fit. Staff recommendations: the pre-finished black decorative cast iron bracket be anchored into the mortar joints and not the bricks themselves as required by the design guidelines. All hardware associated with the hanging of the 4 square foot projecting sign for the pre-finished black decorative cast iron bracket be pre-finished black. And I figure we leave this up to your determination what you would feel would be best. If you would determine if the painted green stencil is to be approved, to either allow the applicant 20%, 30%, or 40% of each commercial style window pane. So kind of leaving it up to you because each one kind of differs and see how you would prefer it. So you would be kind of determining how much of the window you would want them to have as a percentage. Other than that, that's all I
Can
have.
you go back a second to the mock-up of the sign and the bracket is actually in the bricks? That's not correct.
Typically, no. You've
Okay.
allowed them in the past when they've been installed before, after,
Well, you said
before you've given approval.
But you said toward the end of your staff findings that it would be in the mortar joints, not the
It should
bricks.
be in the mortar joint.
So-
That's a staff recommendation based on
Is
the
that sign
guidelines.
already there, or is that just a computer? So it's in the
already
wrong
there.
place?
It's in the bricks. Again, you've allowed people in the past when they've put something in before and then came for approval, you've allowed them to keep it there just because you don't want people moving things in and out of brick. But that was just something I pointed out based on the guidelines that we have. But that is 4 square feet, so that meets the requirements
Okay.
in terms of the size of the sign.
So
And
to clarify that, the only thing that we are approving on that particular piece then is the bracket?
if you want, you're approving the sign because the sign's not been approved.
Oh, okay. Oh,
None of this
okay.
has been approved previously.
Okay.
So
Oh,
you're
I
pretty
see,
much
I see.
allowing it to be there.
Okay.
And the sign does meet it, it's 4 square feet, so that
Yeah.
meets the guidelines.
Okay.
And then if it's up to your discretion, if you want them to remove and put in the mortar joints to comply with the guidelines, again, when people have attached something to the buildings previously and then come to ask for approval, you've allowed them to keep it there, so I'm leaving
Okay.
that to your discretion.
Okay.
And then, in terms of when the stencil,
Yeah.
to see if you want it to be 20%, 30%, 40%.
What do our guidelines say?
You've left it up to your interpretation in terms of, because this is a commercial building, we're updating the guidelines, and this is how we're
Right.
going, so you're kind of going by that in
Did
terms
we-
of it.
Okay, in our guideline review, did we come up with a percentage?
No,
No, I think
it's
I
just,
think it's-
you've gone by
I
the
think it's
motion
each
of,
one
if
has
it,
to be-
one is
has to be
different.
yeah,
different.
you've gone by the motion, if it just has to appropriately fit into that
Yeah.
space
Okay,
for that
so-
window.
The ones on Main Street were very
Right.
different, yeah.
So as the applicant, is she-
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
She
is the
is here.
applicant here? come forward. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Cassidy Case, and I own the Whole Health Center at 122 Wall Street.
Okay, nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, so basically, we've got about 3 parts to this one. One is approving the sign that is already there as it stands, or requiring that they remove it and put it, anchor it into the mortar. And number 2 is a new sign that would be on that panel back there that would be 5 feet by 5 feet.
Yes.
The signage, okay, and then number 3 would be the stenciled windows on
Mhm.
those 2 windows, okay. So, why don't you talk for yourself for a minute?
Okay, so ideally, what we would like, so that bigger sign, the metal one that is, yes, right there, it was, I don't know if they did it correctly, but if you go and look, it's faded. It used to be White Top Yoga, and you can see through it and see where it was.
What, that metal that we're looking at that's painted white?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you drove up to the building and looked, you could see it faintly behind it, and they just painted over it white. I don't know if the lady that owned it previously got that approved by you guys or not. It would be ideal to have that one to cover that up completely and have our sign. That way people could see us from Main Street, and that way we could get tourists coming in and
Oh,
all that.
okay.
So that would be ideal. That's
Okay.
the one I would rather have, that one, and then the one over the door,
Mhm.
that one.
Mm-hmm.
And we could, I'm not opposed at all to moving the, black hanging sign, somewhere else. We're gonna put it there because there was one previously,
Oh,
a long piece of metal, I guess, that hung a bigger sign. And so we actually removed it, right there. Yeah, you can kinda see it hanging out there.
Mhm.
So we were gonna remove that, possibly. That way it just looked better. But if, you all are completely against the larger metal sign on the white part of the building, I'm totally fine with the windows, just whatever you all would allow.
but what you'd like to do, have all 3 of those.
Mhm.
Have the square sign, the signs on the stencils on the windows, and the big sign.
Yes,
the big
that would
5
be
by 5.
ideal, just where we're a back street and
Mhm.
we are a newer business, and we were, blessed that we did grow fast enough to where we could expand so fast from our
Mhm.
last location. But I do wanna make sure people see us, so
Right.
if that's possible, that
Right.
would be great.
I remember the White Top Yoga sign there.
Yes.
Okay, all right, questions or
Yeah, I
comments?
have a couple
Okay.
questions. So, one, I wanted to address the bracket that you say is hanging there empty.
Uh-huh.
And you're planning to remove that, and do you have a
Um,
plan to fix the bricks?
It kinda just, yes, if we removed it, we definitely would. But I was just gonna see if that would be a problem, if we did remove it and then fix the bricks. Not 100% that we're removing it, but if we did remove it, if that would be an okay thing to do.
I don't know how they do that, how do you fix bricks?
Probably would do more damage than
Yeah,
where
you
it
may
is.
wanna
Okay.
just leave it.
We're fine with that.
And then also, a 25-foot sign is really not part of our guidelines.
No, we would have to give an exception to.
Well, but when Mr. Bissett was here, we really did not allow him to do a bigger awning with a sign on it, and I think we need to be consistent in what we allow.
More comments?
And we can make it smaller. You can have an awning and just make it smaller writing, but you can't really have a 25-foot, square foot.
It's not an awning.
Oh, it's not an awning? I thought it was a metal awning. It's
No.
a sign.
Yes.
Oh, then that is not part of our, yeah, that's against our guidelines, isn't it?
It is, I mean, it is. Let's talk about that for a second. You have a comment on that, Gabe?
No, it's just I couldn't find it. I looked to see if there was anything where they could maybe have it as non-conforming. I couldn't find anything, at least in our record, so. The 25 is bigger than what you would allow
It's far bigger,
for this
yes.
business.
Yeah.
That's why when, you guys we've trended in the direction of allowing stencils because they're airy and they're usually seen on commercials. So if they weren't gonna get this, I said, this might be an opportunity to maybe ask for this because
Mhm.
that's the way we're trending. So,
Yeah, I understand your location is not that visible, but also it is in the historic district, and that is really an area that we're very proud of and kind of trying to keep our signage at a minimum and things like that. So that's why we do
Mhm.
have those guidelines.
The stencil,
Totally
the big stenciled windows would be
Mhm.
would be very visible.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Two.
mean, we can allow you
Mhm.
as big or like a 40% if we wanted to.
We could do that.
And can they just not leave the bracket where it is? and put the
Yeah, she
sign
said
there?
she was fine to leave that bracket, the old bracket, not the, yeah, she could
Yeah.
have the bracket for her new sign, but not take the old bracket down. It would probably do more damage to
Okay.
remove it, the second
Okay.
bracket.
Yes, that would be nice.
Anybody else? How about anybody in the audience? Okay, all right, you wanna say anything else?
No, I just wanna ensure the longevity of our business,
Yeah, of course you do.
cause my main goal here is helping people.
Yeah.
That's my passion, that's what I
Mhm.
love, so I just wanna make sure everyone finds us, that's the only thing.
Okay, all right. So we've got essentially three parts to this. I think we can take them all at once. I mean, they're not very complicated like they've been in the past. Or we could take them separately if you'd like.
Is there a way to so I may have misunderstood this, but is there a way to modify the metal one to make it the size conforming to?
You talking about the big one?
Or just have a smaller sign.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Painted
Could you
on
put it in
or
the same location?
placed on.
Yeah, but have it be smaller?
Yes, there
Yeah.
is.
I would,
I mean, it's just
that would
flat
be great.
metal against the wall, it's
Yeah.
not,
Mhm.
it's not structural per se.
Right.
you could have 2 feet by 4 feet, could be as big as we can allow.
okay, I would be perfectly fine with
Or
that.
8
That'd be
square
great.
feet, I should say. It could
Okay.
be-
That would be great, that would be really good, and
This-
people would still get a view.
The sign would be 8 square feet?
No,
or-
I don't think you
No,
need 8 square feet.
Not 8 square feet,
No,
sorry. no,
4 square feet.
4 square
Right.
feet.
I knew what you
apologize.
meant.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
4 square feet.
All right.
That would be great.
I would just suggest if you really want it to be visible from Main Street,
Mm-hmm.
that you don't try to replicate the sign you have. Just have whole health
Yes,
Just the
Center.
words.
okay,
large
yes.
enough to be seen.
Yes, we wanted to make sure it looks really good, structured, classy, nothing crazy.
Okay. All right, then. I think that sounds like we have a motion on that.
Do we need to approve any more than that?
I don't
She
think,
wants to come back with what she wants, or we just trust her?
I think we can approve. Well, would you like to come back? I mean, we hate for you to have to wait a month.
Yeah.
I would like to get
Yes,
them up as soon
yes.
as possible.
Okay.
If
I
Gabe
think
would
we-
wanna come out and look at it, and maybe he could
Mhm.
give the go-ahead once we get everything going, if you guys wanted to check and make sure it looked good.
As long as they meet 4 square feet then, and
Yeah.
it looks like their logo, which you have no problem with, this,
And just the words.
this sign.
Yes,
just
and we're not
Yeah.
gonna add anything crazy, it's gonna
Yes.
be just like the
Okay.
last one,
I
just
think-
like
I
that.
think we
Yeah.
can, we can probably approve it
Okay.
like that.
So you would
Okay.
be essentially approving the projecting and the wall sign and not the stencils or,
Well, I mean, I'm okay if she wants to put the stencils in too. I
Okay.
mean, we've been allowing that.
Let's put, what you could think about doing is putting the stencil smaller,
Okay.
since, a little smaller, since if you do this other sign.
Mhm. I could do that.
What percentage would be good, you don't think? We have here the choice of 20%, 30%, and 40%.
Yeah, I don't know how big those windows are.
Well, one of them's bigger than the other one.
Yeah, they're 2 different sizes, so I think they have to be.
The window on the facing west, which is this one, is 40 square feet. This one here is 24.17 square feet.
Of course, if we just say a percentage, then you can work that out.
Yeah.
You can work that out. So why don't we just decide on a percentage? If we're okay with having both that flat metal sign as well as these stencil signs.
There's probably a
Then-
cost factor involved making 2 different size stencils. It might be to your advantage just to pick one size and have it the
Possibly.
same on both of the 2 windows.
I'm not sure, I would have to ask, the sign company, I'm not sure how the price would
Yeah,
vary.
I'm not sure either, but
I'd-
it's worth checking.
Yeah,
I wonder how we could do this and give you some leeway to make a decision on your own.
Well, it's saying no larger than a certain percentage.
I know, we're trying to pick the percentage. Do you think if you pick the middle percentage of 30%,
Mm-hmm.
that would be okay?
So no, up to 30%.
Up to 30%?
Well, those stencils are really only gonna be practicably visible on close range anyway, so I'm not sure the percentage is that important.
Okay. Well,
It's
why-
something you're gonna see as you walk up the alley or
Yeah,
park.
when you get there.
Mhm.
You see the name.
All right, well, let's try to formulate a motion.
Make a motion that we approve replacing the, or have, I guess, putting the sign that you proposed for your business where you wanna put it,
Okay.
leaving the other bracket in place,
Mm-hmm.
so you just don't damage the bricks and just don't have to ever think about that again.
Okay.
Putting a 4 square foot flat metal sign above that garage door place, or whatever that is.
Painting it on there.
Painted it on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then having 2 window stencils up to 30% of the,
Window
the
service.
window
Okay.
area.
All right?
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
great. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Peyton Boyd seconds that motion. Made by Ms. Hartshorn. Did you get that, Jamie? Okay. All right. Any further comments? Roll call.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mrs. Pillion?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you all
Good
so
luck.
much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, we'll enjoy seeing it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, number 5. Finally.
So I'll just go over it. It's in your, you should have the staff report that was from the last meeting.
Yes.
Essentially, you approved the fencing that matched what was there on site, and you matched the brick walkway. What you're looking to, and what Mr. Henderson will be introducing is the walk-in cooler portion of that request.
Yes.
And so I know you had some reservations of it, and so Mr. Henderson's here to discuss on that and add any more.
Will you
detail.
join us? Do you have a picture of it you could pull off
Yeah,
again?
I'm getting that right
How are y'all this afternoon?
We're fine, how are you?
Thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm great.
We are obviously concerned about its visibility back there
Right.
to the public, right there by the, right there by
Well,
the
there's
back.
definitely many options that we can
Okay,
discuss to
okay.
try to delineate the visibility of the
All right.
walk-in cooler, so. So these are just 2 different options. One is like a Connex box type deal. It's removable. You know, if we ever needed to move it to another place, it'd be easy to pull out, take on. So, and then this is option 2 is more, I mean, it's still movable too. You just have to actually break it down. Either one of them are paintable.
Okay.
So, you know, on the back section of the, at 306 Depot Square there, you have 2 double doors. You got that larger picture, Gabe? It's okay, it don't matter. So you, back there at that larger, the 2 double doors is where I was thinking about placing this, walk-in cooler. So my thought process is we could put up some type of privacy fence, or we could paint it to match it to the existing brick that's there, or we could maybe do some type of shrubbery, greenery to hide it. You know, maybe set out some planters, and then I'll have Miss Laney, my lovely horticultural lady that takes care of the town for us.
Oh,
I'll
yes.
have her planted some stuff to hide it if that's the route we choose to go. I'm open to either doing 1, 2, or 3 of the options. I mean, it's you know, this is something that we need for the commercial kitchen, and a couple of reasons is space. You know, if I have this thing outside, I'm gonna have more space inside, prep area, cook area, storage area. You know, the other is because then I'm gonna have to put multiple units inside, and then I'm gonna have multiple compressors, and then I'm gonna have, you know, this, I'll have one compressor to contend with, one compressor to maintain, one compressor to take care of. Another reason is the Department of Health. You don't want no cross-contamination with your food. So if I've got smaller fridges in there and somebody accidentally puts some chicken over some baked goods, well, then we're in trouble. So, you know, I'm thinking if I could put this outdoor walk-in cooler outside, then we go in there, we divide, take, you know, plexiglass something, I'll make sections. This is your section. We'll move on down here. And then, you know, then you eliminate human error of somebody putting chicken or whatever it may be above a baked good or something like that. So, and of course, I would leave the doors intact. We could leave them open inside of the commercial kitchen area. Leave the framework there. All we'd end up doing would be coming off of the jambs that are there at the framed area and make a walkway to the walk-in cooler.
So it would be there would be a stationary walkway there?
Yes.
Okay.
How far apart are you thinking between the building and the?
Well, I would
and the
say, you know, you see where
cooler?
the pillars come down off of the overhang there?
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to set that, I mean, I need enough room to be able to finish that area coming in there. So, you know, I think them set off about 8 to 10 inches off the wall, so, you know, maybe a foot to 2 foot. But I'd also like to try to keep it as much as I can up and under the existing roof that's there on the overhang.
Do you think that's a possibility? I mean, there's not a lot of
I only
room.
got
There's not a lot
about
of room back
7
there.
foot,
Yeah.
and you know, so then that's only going to leave me about 6 foot for a walk-in cooler. So.
And that cooler that you've shown us meets that
Well,
size?
that Connex box one is about 7.5 to 8 foot. So, but now I can get the other one, and which I can keep it about 6 foot.
Okay. Well,
High? Is that
and
the
then we'll
height?
turn.
No, that's the width. That's the width.
I'll turn it over to comments in just a second, but as just an overview, a general comment, of course, this is a tough one for us because this is a major contributing building,
Right.
A, and then B, where you're putting it is highly visible. We've
Correct.
just, you know, across the street, been very careful about
Right,
allowing
yes.
what's happening across the street. So the screening part of it is, you know,
And I have no problem with screening
absolutely
it.
essential.
Yes.
If it has to be there,
Right.
if it has to be there.
Yes. Yeah, we have no problem trying to screen it in. Whether, like I said, that's either some type of fence or painting it or some type of greenery, so.
And you're protecting the doors.
Yes, the doors will stay intact.
Yeah, that was one of our concerns and why we tabled it in the first place, because the original packet had the doors being removed.
Well, originally, that
and
was the
stored
plan, and
off-site.
I had plans, you know, I think I told Gabe, I was gonna plan on keeping the doors, and I'd crate them up, store them, they'll go in storage, but, you know, if that's a big deciding factor.
That's a big deciding factor.
We'll leave the
for us,
doors
the
intact,
door.
and that's no issue.
So go over the size of it again. It's, what by what?
I think, well, it'd be 6 by about, I can't remember if it's 16 or 18 foot long.
Oh, so it's, the length of it is long.
Yeah,
so-
because I want to be able to have the cooler and the freezer section all in one.
Does it cover up that window?
So no, so where that window is to the left of the door, I would start it right there, and then you see where that HVAC is?
Yeah.
It would go to about in that vicinity. I think there's a downspout there, and that's around 16, 18 foot. So it would stay between the windows.
I was gonna say, so.
Yes, the windows would stay visible.
Okay.
The only visibility you're gonna lose is the door and the
Okay.
existing brick.
And what was the part in your original plan about a tunnel? There was a
That was
tunnel.
just-
We didn't understand
That
what
was the
that meant.
breezeway.
No, that was
It
just
was
referring to whatever
how they
connector you were
connected.
building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
you're
it'd be,
not-
I mean, even if, I guess, remove the doors or didn't remove the doors, you'll have like a walkway, a breezeway coming out of the
Kitchen.
the kitchen area
So what do you-
into the,
So you're constructing something like
yeah,
that?
now, I mean, I wanna close it in, you know, it'll all be closed in, and be part of the building itself, so.
But not more than a foot or two.
No, not less, probably, I mean, if I can, keep it less than a foot, I will. I would love to set it right up against those, concrete pillars sticking out there.
But it would not be, it would not be flush onto the building.
No, no,
Okay.
no,
So there
it'll,
would be-
it'll have to set off, cause you have
Yeah.
3 concrete pillars that are sticking out there
Yeah.
that'll keep it from setting
Right.
up
Can
against
you
the
But,
brick.
but keeping it
out
off
on it a little?
would help to, protect the fabric of the building there.
I mean,
And so what you're proposing though, it would be between those two buildings, I mean, the two windows.
Yes.
So the windows would stay in.
Yes,
stay
so the
there.
windows will still
Yeah.
be visible and
Yeah.
everything.
And if you screened it, as in, painted it this color of the trim or something,
I mean, I could paint it the color, the brown color of the trim that's there, or we could do a light tan color close to the brick.
is there room to put, anything around it, like fencing?
I mean, I have room there to be able to put a fencing. I mean, it'll go right up against it. It would have to go
Yeah.
right up against it.
I wonder what it would look like if there were no fencing, but it were painted out, so to speak,
I
looking like the
think
building.
that if you, I think it would look better if we just painted it kind of to
To
match
look like
the
the
building.
building.
Yeah, and whether, I mean, either way, whether we went with the darker brown for the trim to
Uh-huh.
match the trim, or if we went with the lighter tan to match the brick, I think either one would look fine.
Is the
Well-
compressor contained within that unit, or is it sitting on top of it, or?
Well, now, like the Connex box one, it's built in on the side of it for it to service it. Now, the other one, I'm not 100% certain, but I think it's sitting on top of it.
Could it be painted as well if you go with that?
I would say we'd have to build some type of barrier around it to hide it and then paint it, as far as painting the actual compressor, no.
Yeah.
Do both of those compressors work? I mean, is one of them bigger than the other, it seems?
I mean,
mean, not compressor,
they're
I
all
mean
gonna be the
freezer.
same size.
I mean freezer.
It just depends on,
freezer, I said that
freezer,
wrong.
yes,
Of course, the smaller the better from our standpoint. but-
right. I mean, those were just examples that I pulled off the internet of
Oh,
what I was
okay.
looking at.
Oh, all right. Okay.
We really wait till
Yeah,
this meeting
have
to
this
decide.
Well, it's nice to have this discussion about possibilities. And of course, our entire preference is twofold, or not preference, but our priority
Right.
is to protect that contributing building, A, and B, to screen what we're putting out there from the public view.
Correct.
Is the door into the unit?
So there'll be a single door entry. The one I sent you is a double door entry. When I was looking at them and I called them, I tried to see if I could get it custom built where the two doors were closer
Well,
together.
that's my question.
But I can't, they won't do that, so I'll have to have a single door entry, like it'll walk into a walk-in cooler, and then it walks then you walk inside of the unit, and then you walk into the freezer section.
But that's outside our purview, that's.
Yeah, I
after-
mean,
after
the
it's
door,
already-
the
after it's
door,
already in there.
the entry door into the walk-in freezer will be there at the double door, coming
It would
out
have
of
to
the
be to
commercial
make-
kitchen.
Make it
Right.
work like you're saying.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, I mean, I personally think it's if it has to be there, if, you absolutely have to have it, it looks like your plan of keeping it between those two windows
yes,
and then screening it.
yes.
Is there still room to walk around it, I guess?
Yes, you still, I mean, that walkway, or that section right there is 25, 30 foot, and actually, excuse me, I reached out to the railroad, they're okay with us putting this in, per our maintenance,
Oh,
per our
okay.
agreement with
Oh,
on
right.
the train station. And, we've talked about doing other improvements to that existing area too, of trying to spruce that up and I'm gonna have to make it more ADA safe, because that's gonna be my ADA access into the building actually.
Not through the freezer, though.
No, it'll be behind the freezer.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you've got like 20 foot from, say, the roof line to where that asphalt falls off there before you get to tracks.
Right, okay, oh, okay.
Maybe not 20 foot.
So
but
you're
it's-
saying that maybe the ADA would go around it into that door that's beyond it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and we looked at those walkways the last time.
Yep, you approved the walkways because mixture brick and everything, and then the
Yeah, we
fencing
did.
matches what's there. So
Yeah.
you already approved that, it was just really
Yeah,
the
it's
cooler
just this
portion of this
cooler.
request.
It's cooler, right.
Cooler.
But this sounds much better.
Yes, yes. I think I can make it blend in as best I can. I mean, it is a walk-in cooler, but I think we can paint it. I mean, I don't even care to paint it and add, like I said, some planters around it and put a little greenery there to kind of livenly it up a little bit, but,
Well, okay, let's talk about it now just a little bit. How about anybody from the audience? It looks like Byron would like to say something.
yes, sir, go ahead.
I'm Byron Giesler, 228 East Main Street. So, I mean, as Ms. White already pointed out, I mean, this is a difficult ask. And the main reason, or one of the main reasons, is obviously this is an incredibly important structure in the historic district. It's historically significant, it's architecturally significant. I mean, a few years ago, the town came and invested quite a bit of money in replacing this slate roof and restoring the original
Correct,
skylights
yes.
that had been removed.
Yes,
I think
correct.
that was maybe
It looks
10 or
great,
10 or
yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
It really, you know, did a top job on the building. So, you know, that's what makes it so difficult. I mean, I don't believe if you look at the Department of Interior guidelines, you know, basically this is an addition to this building, and that's really the only way to analyze it. And if you look at the guidelines, there's just no way this proposal complies with those. The guidelines require that a new addition must preserve the historic building's form, envelope, significant materials and features, must be compatible with the historic building's massing, size, scale, and architectural features, must be differentiated from the historic building to preserve its character. Standard 10 calls for new additions to be constructed in such a manner that the essential form and integrity of the historic property be unimpaired if the new work were to be removed in the future. It sounds like we can comply with that one. Limiting the removal of historic materials and utilizing existing doors, that's okay. It then goes on to say that, you know, it's really the first part of that guideline that is being violated. You know, but you also have to balance that, understand, with, we've had this come up before, this board, where we don't want historic structures to sit empty and not be contributing to the town. We faced that with the Summers building. It sat empty for a long time, and so, you know, we had to make accommodations. Can you pull back up with what those refrigeration units look like outside?
We've got pictures of them here too.
No.
I just meant the exterior. There was two options at the beginning.
Yep.
So, you know, the problem is that this is what we're adding to an historic building, and this doesn't meet the guidelines because it's an addition that's not compatible with the original structure. It's not architecturally compatible with it. It's not an extension, an addition that is, you know, similar in massing and stylistically the same. It's a refrigeration unit, so it doesn't in any way meet what's envisioned as the requirements for when you add something onto a historic structure. On the plus side, it's apparently easily removable, and if we leave all the original features there, then you know, that's, so I've just been trying to come up with some way to allow it, but to ensure that it's not one of these things where, and you see this a lot in towns, something like this gets added, and then even if it quits being used, it's there forever. It just becomes this permanent eyesore. I'm not sure why the senior center decided to use this building if it doesn't, you know, it's gonna take this much retrofitting to make it serve their purpose, but I guess that's beyond.
That's a side conversation.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
tell you later.
But it's a beautiful structure, and I don't know if you've all been inside when Mr. Signer's, are they gonna be using the whole inside or just one
So
side?
the whole building again,
The commercial kitchen will be pretty much.
kitchen's over this way, and then there's a bridge gap with like a
Yeah,
side
common
door.
area.
Yeah, common area with like the stainless tables, and the senior section's gonna be all over this way, this little office here. Now, the senior section is over on that end, and then,
So they'll be using the whole building then?
no, the
Oh.
kitchen side is all over here, so this will be dedicated for commercial kitchen. And then there's about a 15 or 20 foot deep section that is, will be used
That
for.
middle doorway, that, like
Yeah.
Charlotte Southern was in there.
Oh, okay.
That section will be the common area,
Hmm.
and then where, what's his name at the
Mr.
frame shop?
Siggers. Mr. Signer's.
No, the
Green
framing.
bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the, to the right over there towards Mom and me is the senior side, and then the other side closest to the caboose here is where the commercial.
So is the
kitchen
commercial kitchen not part of the senior center then?
No, so they're separate functions.
Oh, okay.
The way the project was funded was the funding unit would fund a senior, would fund a commercial kitchen, commercial commissary, and would allow us to use the funds to get the building up to ADA compliance. And then we're using different funds to help create the
Oh.
area for the seniors.
Okay.
Now simultaneously, we have been, they've been awarded some money in order to study a senior facility in the area, do a needs assessment. So, and that's not our funds, it's another set of funds, but fully funded. And that's literally, we just got this in the past couple days. And so the long-term plan would be, this is temporary 2 to 3 year for the seniors, because they have to have somewhere. And then the long term is to have either a standalone facility or addition to an existing facility. But at the end of the day, this will be fully ADA compliant and brought up to current, everything we can do in a couple of years. And then we'll continue to use, now the commissary kitchen, will continue to be, will be able to be used by the folks that have, worked at the farmer's market, or anybody that wants to, like, I know Anthony's relocated, but I was thinking someone like him that wants to be able to cook and doesn't have a home.
Oh, I
that kind of
see.
stuff.
Oh, okay.
So the kitchen's not for the senior center, it's not for any, no one specifically requesting it, it's the town putting it in?
Yes, so we're putting it in order to help facilitate the farmer's market, and that was how we got the funding. But so that, if you talk to the folks at the farmer's market, a lot of them bake goods, but because of some of the rules of food can be baked, even if you have a great kitchen, it's not, it has to be cooked in a commissary
In order
kitchen.
to sell it.
Was that- Yeah, if
In
you're
order
gonna
to
sell
sell
it,
it.
yeah.
So was this the only location you considered for this commercial kitchen?
Yes, well, so one of the criteria was that we own it. And so this was empty, or coming empty, because we had, Spigners had moved out, to his new location. Charlotte wound up moving out, and then at the very end unit, they wound up, was that?
Dean Ball.
Yeah, Dean was in there temporary while they were redoing the Trigway, or what do you call it?
Greenway Tree.
Tree, I know it was something like that. He was in there for a year, and so then it became empty. And then we started trying to figure out what we could do there. And ideally, in a couple of years, it would not be a great, either a restaurant or something, either a restaurant or
Oh, yeah.
turn it back into something to incubate back to Main Street.
Yeah.
So,
Well, on
yeah.
excuse me.
I don't know, but as far as things that we've considered location-wise, we own it was the biggest criteria, and we own it. And, I mean, the building, since we've done the demo work in the inside on this section, the whole roof of it, all, the whole ceiling on the inside is all, tongue and groove, it's all really neat old stuff.
Yeah,
We're trying to
they-
preserve it.
They had the drop ceiling like
Yeah.
this in there, so.
Oh, yeah.
now we took all
Well, I
that
mean,
out.
as
It's all
Byram
tongue and
says,
groove.
it's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
Well, on the plus side, at least it's not being put on the front. I don't think we could ever
Right.
approve that.
Correct.
It is being put on the back. However, the back of this is so visible from the railroad and from on the cross that way. What if you, and our whole thing is, of course, I think you've solved the protection of the building with what you plan to do, at least. But screening then becomes the big deal. And maybe if there were, let's discuss this a little bit, and Byram, you could talk about this. If you painted it like you're saying, but you also put a fencing around it
Right.
that totally screened it, and so it looked more like the trim on the building, that you couldn't tell what
So
was in
are
there.
you wanting to, see, when you look at this area right here, there's aluminum fence right here. You know, to match that, we want to paint it the light brown or the dark brown, and then put that type of
But that's just pickets.
aluminum fencing up?
No, we want a
Or
solid
do you
fence.
want,
It would have to be, I
you
think,
want
that-
like a solid,
Yeah, solid.
solid?
Yeah, or for the most part solid, not like that,
I
no.
mean, are you
Something,
Not
wanting-
pickets.
are you
something
wanting
that you-
wood, vinyl?
Oh,
well, it would probably be wood.
it would have to be
That's
wood.
fine,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
wood.
that's.
I'm
I mean-
having trouble imagining it just painted when I look at these, because there are probably areas that you're not gonna be able to put paint on.
But I mean, if I'm gonna say, put us if this thing's 8 foot tall and I'm gonna put me up an 8 foot fence, solid wood fence, you can't see it.
Uh-huh.
Then is there any need to
Need to
paint
paint it, need to paint it.
So if you go.
Maybe not.
Look for the pictures, but if you go between here and the border, we just put in, they're little short ones, but they look like an Italian cypress, but they're fake. So they never, like Italian cypress tend to turn brown after a little while. But they're between here and the border, because if you were in here, I didn't know this until I was standing there looking at it. If you leave the border and you're standing outside and they're smoking or whatever, and you look at our air conditioners, and it just looked, yeah. So anyway, we wound up buying these little fake trees, but you can buy taller fake trees
Mhm.
that would cover it, so you couldn't see it. It's not an optimal optical solution, but it's far better than a fence.
It is?
I would think so. So you had the fence, but then put those on the outside,
Oh,
so it would look like landscaping essentially.
Well-
See, that's where I'd say maybe you do some type of planter,
also,
you know, you put the planter
Yeah.
around the.
Or rather than
walk-in
something
cooler.
that looks like landscaping, why not landscaping? I mean,
Well, that's, see, I mean.
real
that's the-
plants.
Well, yeah, but with the planter I could, so let's say we painted it brown.
mhm. The
and then
fence, are you talking about the fence
No,
or
I'm talking
the
about
unit?
I'm talking about the walk-in cooler.
Yeah.
So let's say we painted the walk-in
Oh, is that
cooler
it?
brown.
Oh, I didn't know those were fake.
I didn't either.
Yeah, they are fake, just because the real ones tend to die every so often, like cats.
Those things also grow like crazy.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Yeah,
Somebody
I
has-
just
they
We
feel
planted
weird
some to
about
shield a
plastic
property and it
shrubbery
was
in the
unreal.
historic district. You know, I feel like,
Yeah.
is that junky? I mean, plastic shrubbery, really?
But what I was gonna say is, let's say I painted it brown
Okay.
to match the building.
The unit.
And the unit, the
Okay.
walk-in cooler, exterior part of it. And then I buy some large, nice planters to put around the walk-in cooler itself. And then we plant some greenery stuff
Mhm.
in those planters to help delineate the appearance of the walk-in cooler.
You
Um,
could put a,
Because then, I mean, even at that, I could still put some planters down alongside the backside of the building to give a curb appeal
Yeah.
for the back, and it all kind of blends in.
It seems to me, I mean, that the screen that would be the most screened thing would be the fence, would be the fencing, no? Yes?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
would be the fence, solid, the solid.
that's fine,
The
yeah.
solid slats of fence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Painted to try to look like the molding on the building.
Okay.
Another piece of, like, you're talking about the moldings, the molding
So we're
pieces.
talking, you know, I mean, that's probably 10 foot there.
Uh-huh.
So you want, pretty much it's gonna have to go all the way to the ceiling of the overhang
Yeah.
around the building.
What's
so
the negative of that you're
Yeah.
implying?
There's nothing, I'm just clarifying.
yeah,
is all.
Yeah, I mean, we've
Yeah.
got this house right here that we're really working, you know, every other month or something with Dr. Simcox, who's coming in and getting his house, you know, really perfected. And so we also want to protect his view.
Right.
Because he's doing
So-
everything by the book, and I don't, you know, if he's gonna now
Uh,
come to us and say, what the heck?
Right, and I totally understand
Yeah.
that. So my next question is, am I allowed to attach these posts? I'll have to set 4 posts.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe more, attach it to that overhang of that roof.
In order to
To be
what?
up for stability
Of what?
of the
Unit.
fence.
Of the fence.
Yes.
So
Into the
so-
existing
So
floor?
if we do the fence, we have to make, it has to be clear that you've got to put some posts there
Yes.
to anchor the fence, to
Into
stabilize
the original
fence.
wood, though, do you wanna have him anchor something into the original wood?
Why does it have to be there instead
Well, I
of,
mean, I would
instead of
just
the,
tie it
instead of the
into it.
ground?
I mean,
Instead of the, platform?
well, so All right, this asphalt that's there.
Yeah.
And I was gonna come to that before we got really, really deep into
Yeah.
this, but, so you've got 4 inches asphalt, and you've got about 4 inches base layer. Then, now, I don't know if it's over the entire surface around the train station, but I plan on doing some test holes to find out. There is actually brick pavers up and under there.
Oh,
And
Not
they
surprising.
dated back, they
Yeah.
got the railroad stamp of 1908 on them.
Wow.
So I would love, I know we approved the asphalt.
Uh-huh.
because that's what's there.
Reluctantly.
I would love to be able to pull that up, relay some,
uh-huh.
a base layer, and bring those brick pavers back to life.
See, we love that.
Yeah, we're
I mean, and of
anti-asphalt.
course, that takes time, that takes
Yeah,
money.
right. I
And
think, but-
everything else
but-
takes
but-
planning and budget, but I mean, it may take me a year or two, but that's what I would love to
Well,
see.
I mean, and something like that, see, what goes along with what our priorities are supposed to be. I mean, we do this for the town, and, then couldn't you anchor at the same time, be anchoring the posts in the bottom?
I mean, I can anchor, I mean, we could anchor them in, cut the asphalt out, cut the base layer out, and just pour us some concrete and anchor them in there.
But I mean,
No
if you,
house.
well, if you do the pavers though, won't you be taking all that out?
Yes, that's if I do the
Yeah,
pavers, but I
yeah.
may not be able to do the
Oh.
pavers this
Well, we
year.
like the
Well,
pavers.
we want you to.
We vote for
You got
that.
money? You wanna donate?
The town has money.
Well, you
I
know,
might
this.
cut it all out.
What's that?
This is, this is one of those highly unusual and, like, once in a century sort of renovations you're talking about
Yes.
here.
I
I mean,
mean-
it's probably worth doing it really right.
It is, but.
And if
uh,
you've got those pavers under there with the date on it,
Yeah, I mean, I plan on, well, I've got a trailer there, that they're putting all the debris in, but once it gets kinda moved,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have guys go in, we're gonna cut up some of the asphalt and just do some test holes and see if it goes all the
Okay.
way around the building, and then what kind of shape it's in.
Well, let me ask this question. It doesn't sound like you're in an immediate hurry, because I think we've made a lot of progress tonight.
Right.
Can we wait a month and come back after you've studied these things to
I'd like
do?
to see you bring back fence renderings so we could see what that fence would
You
look like.
explore
Yeah.
that idea some?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Because you're
fine, I've got
talking like a
another thing we
10-foot
need to put on the
fence.
on the
What's
agenda
that?
too,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
for next time, and it's
Okay. I mean, it would be something that, the town we could all as a town be very proud of taking a problem and turning it into something that will be an asset instead.
Yeah.
I feel like we're really struggling with this because it is such a great building, and I think the more information that you can bring us with actual renderings of what it's gonna look like would help us a lot to be more visual, because I can't visualize it right now.
Well, I mean, and I have no problem with doing that, but just to get clarification, I mean, you're wanting some type of wood structure.
We would require wood, because that's in our guidelines.
So,
It sounds like from what we're all talking about.
what about,
it-
I mean, and I may have to, if I can, I'll try to come up with another solution, but if I have to what if I have to attach it to the wall?
To the wall itself?
Yeah.
Well, that'll be another discussion, but hopefully you won't.
And
So-
we've often in the past had a special called meeting if you get it done and wanna meet before a month,
I mean, I can have it done by the end of the week, so I can put something
But
together
you
tomorrow.
could really explore some
explore some
options.
options and
I
give
can
us.
Yeah,
explore some options.
and more details with what seems to be coming out as the right thing to do.
Yeah, we went over to Unicoi and a couple other places and looked, I mean, and they all tend to have a kitchen, I mean, walk-in fridges or freezers to them,
And a lot of that is because of the cross-contamination.
Uh-huh.
yeah, there's issues, I mean, recently somewhere, or something had contaminated a kitchen and it spread to everybody who was a customer there.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the last thing I want
Yeah.
too, so.
Well, I mean, and if it's the fact that the town has decided that this is what is going to go there, this commercial kitchen, and for safety purposes, this has to be outside, then I think we just have to deal with it, but it has to be done as right as possible.
Right.
Yeah, I wanna take one other look, I mean, we have an office space in there that's more of a flex space, I'd hate to heat an office up with a freezer. And he tells me the floor would have to get reinforced.
The floor would have to be get reinforced, and I don't think they're making that office space. I think it's more lounge for the seniors now.
Take a stand.
Well, would you mind just exploring that
Yeah.
as another exploration idea? Okay.
We'll explore the options,
Okay.
yeah, I mean.
That, of
the,
course, would be terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, see, the thing with the location, the whole idea here was with the connection with the farmer's market. Our farmer's market has to be the busiest
But the
farmer's market.
The other
This
thing
would be
with that too, though,
beneficial
Mike,
for 'em, yeah.
I know the Department of Health, they wanted me to make sure that that door into the commercial kitchen was locked, or that people couldn't enter in there. So if they're
Yeah,
exiting
that's
out of
true.
the commercial kitchen, to go into two other rooms with a walk-in cooler, they're not
Well,
gonna like that
let's look
either.
at it though. It's like, let's not dismiss it until
Right.
we've really explored it.
And we just had, it was Gabe brought her in, somebody from Knoxville come over here and she was taking pictures of it, cause she was like, this is perfectly, you know.
Yeah, she was doing a study for, it was the railroad actually, that used to own that building.
Mhm.
And, because they're looking to restore one that's been really beat up in other
Mhm.
localities, so she came and looked at ours and was very impressed with what we were doing. So-
Well, I know,
It's
as
a great
Byron
building.
pointed out, I mean, the town has done a super job of taking care of this.
Well, and I wouldn't plan on trying to attach anything to the outside surface of the building. The only place that it would be there around the exterior door jambs of that double door.
Mhm.
To be able to create that alleyway or walkway.
And you would have it so that that's the other priority, is that it could be reversible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be removable at any
Right.
given time, you know,
Right.
if this was to change and we decided to do something else in 2 or 3 years, then we can
Yeah,
take it out.
okay.
Yeah,
But
Well,
what
I
are you
think-
spending on that to remove it in 2 or 3 years?
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know.
The whole kitchen,
It's,
Well,
well,
that's
500.
No, I'm talking about the freezer. I mean, if
Oh,
they're gonna take it
freezer?
out in 3
It's
years.
but that's
$20,000,
not
right,
business.
a freezer's
We're just gonna remove it,
$20,000,
though, do you think?
25,000.
If it's reversible.
If it's reversible, then.
Well, okay.
first of all, I would envision that the food commissary section would be used for years to come.
Yes.
There's a lot of demand for that, even though there's a couple in the area, like the one in Unicoi, sadly, cause it's in Unicoi, 18 hours a month is what it gets used. I mean, it's not a very shrewd investment, but in here, with our food scene and the local
Yeah.
growers and all that we have,
Yeah.
I think it'll see a definite use.
Well, is it okay to wait a month and we'll come back and put all your creative thoughts to work? Byron, would you like to say anything else?
I don't know. So, I mean, I guess there was, I was gonna say, was there any thought of trying to do this down at the farmer's market, but it's not just the freezer, it's the whole kitchen, right? So you have to build a whole kitchen down there.
Yeah, the kitchen is part of the, without the building, you wouldn't have a kitchen. I mean, cause it's,
Who owns the former bank building across from the farmer's market? The town doesn't own that.
that's, is it the Cider folks?
But anyway, the town doesn't own that.
No, we don't own that. That was that's where the cider place was temporarily, I believe. I'm not sure whether the fellow that owns the Commons owns that.
And I don't know that it would be any better, but was there any thought put into, is that a door on the end of the depot?
Yes. On this side,
Oh,
now this is the.
no, I'm over here somewhere.
No, there's no door over here.
Windows.
There's
Oh, I got
a
you.
door on the other side.
That's all.
Okay. Okay, well, good. All right, I think we made progress. I think things sound pretty good. And thank you for that.
I think
I mean,
if-
back
Matt?
to your
Thank
question,
you, Matt.
sorry.
Thank you.
Back to your question, Byron, right over here. You was talking about moving this cooler over here?
Well, I thought if there was a door there, it'd be
No.
better to have like a structure constructed and put the freezer inside of that that's not actually attached to the depot. That would be preferable, but there's no good way to do that, so that's not gonna work.
Okay, one more.
what if I have two? I think the fence needs a lot of careful consideration on its design,
Oh, yes.
not just a stockade fence.
Right.
It needs maybe some framing that somehow replicates some of the trim, somebody mentioned that,
Yes.
on the building. more than just boards, you know, stuck together with a
So do
scallop top
bear
or
that
something.
in mind. That would be a big important thing, is the screening and what it looks like and how it sort of blends in and is appropriate looking, so that it's not like a sore thumb sticking out.
And that's fine, but the more lumber you put on it, the heavier it's gonna get, so then, you know, but if we're gonna blend it in to say match this overhanging, I mean, are you okay then at letting it all blend in together and tying in? So
We
it
won't
looks
know
like
till we
it's
see
not
the
an add-on,
plans.
it's designed to go with it.
We would have to see that to understand what you would really be doing there.
Can you repeat that?
So what I was saying, you know, he's talking about taking some of the trim work that's existing around the overhang. So you're gonna start getting into a lot of weight there. And you're gonna start getting into a safety concern of people traveling and walking by. So my question is if that is the case, then can I tie that into that existing overhang, the trim work that is there, the big large beam that runs out on the outside?
You're talking about nailing things into it.
And tying it into it.
Oh, you're talking about nailing into it.
Yes, I mean, cause those are some large beams that are there, and I mean, like I said, the more wood you add, the more weight it's gonna be.
Well, let's just think through various options, but obviously the word screening is what's so important, as to how it could be best screened, and appropriateness is the other one.
What if they could be anchored somehow to the metal structure of the cooler or freezer?
I just, well, yeah.
I see all these holes
Then,
and
then,
things.
yeah, but then you're taking away, well, probably gonna void your warranty.
Oh, there's holes there.
Yeah, but they may be manufactured holes. You
Well,
know,
I
you
mean,
you start drilling the board into the side of a walk-in cooler, I mean, they're not that thick.
I mean, I think we've talked this enough tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you've got a lot of options, and to go back and think through with some options, and the screening and
Yes.
and protecting the building. And when you're talking about nailing into something, you're referring to the brackets that are hanging down, I think, and all of that, you know, starting to nail into those things becomes something to consider. So, I don't know, simpler, but really appropriate.
Right.
So let's just wait the month, and I bet you some good ideas can come out of it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Could I get a table for an official motion? So we just have an
Yes.
official motion. that's
So make a
tabled.
motion to table?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to table this proposal until our next meeting.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Second by Ms. Hartshorn.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in
Thank you.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay. Okay. Shall we adjourn? Shall we have a motion to adjourn?
Gabe had one more thing, I
Uh,
think, about Historic Preservation Day.
Yeah,
on our
so-
Before we
agenda.
get to that, before you were like, I had some, under new business, that these bicycle racks, I guess, are just going up around town, and I don't think there's been a certificate of appropriateness.
Well, I'm not sure if they require certificate of appropriateness, but they do need, they would probably need to get approval from the town, just to put them in the sidewalk.
Well, they're structures in the historic district, so they would need a certificate of appropriateness.
Well, that's probably a fuzzy area, and then maybe.
Well,
it's
structure, we've
worth
had
to-
this whole definition with those
worth-
mailboxes.
It's probably worth discussing.
Yeah, no other locality reviews bike racks.
Are you sure specifically bike racks?
But that might need as Byron was
Well, the
telling me.
guidelines say any change to buildings or structures, a structure is anything that's manufactured and put together. I mean, the whole point of the historic district is for this board to exercise oversight into things that are added to the historic district. So, you know, just arbitrarily saying, well, that's not a structure. I mean, it is a structure. It's something that's built of component parts that's going in the historic district. And so, you know, all of these things need to come. I'm not saying there's anything inappropriate about this. I'm not saying that if this board wouldn't approve it, I don't know, but it needs to come before this board.
Well, do you remember, to that point, you remember the mailbox at
At
the
the
Summers
Summers,
building?
yeah.
That was a non-structure.
That
It was a structure.
No, the mailbox was a non-structural.
Where is your definition of structure?
I'd have to find it again on where we did it, but I remember we had Cam write something up on that, so.
Well, that's a point to consider, is that we, you know, we did work on that, and because of that work, it really looks good. I mean, it's hidden from view and so forth, but that was brought before us, and we did work on it.
I would like to point out, though,
To-
that was
to the
because it was
positive.
in the foundation of that building.
It was in it.
It was in the foundation of the Summers building. This is not in the foundation of any contributing structure.
Say that again.
The mailbox
Oh.
was anchored into the foundation of the Summers building, so that made it part of you're altering the structure then.
Well, I think this is something seriously this board needs to look at, because we can't just be arbitrarily deciding what is and what is not a structure. I mean, we regulate signs, we regulate sidewalks, we regulate retaining walls, we regulate all sorts of things. And we don't just regulate buildings, and it's
Mhm.
all important to, you know, the integrity of the historic district. And again, I'm not saying this wouldn't be approved, I'm just saying that things can't just be appearing in the historic district without this board having oversight of it.
Well, I think that's very well said, actually, and.
No, it makes
and
sense.
I agree, I think it does make sense, and, I mean, on the extreme other end, we could just end up with a lot of clutter, just because of that. I don't think we
We've got some
would.
park benches, but I mean, that's not a big, we added park benches, like the ones in front of the churches and all, we've added those, but these are permanently mounted, the other ones are, well, they're seven, yeah. So,
I
yeah,
think
it's
we
not a big
need to
deal.
add it to our guideline discussion when we have our
I think we
next
probably
guideline
should, I think
review.
everybody should just think about this.
Yeah, yeah.
Think of things that are not a part of the building, but are within the district. I mean, we do, all of us together, everybody tries so hard to keep this historic district from being
Yeah, that's
unspoiled, and
why
we're doing a
the,
good job of it.
When we started this process for the bike things, we did want ones that just looked like bike racks.
Mhm.
And, so, because it's Abington, you know, we wanted to look a little bit special, so,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, we'll certainly put it on there and then bring it to you next month. That'll work.
Okay.
We put in 4, but we can hold off on putting the other ones in or take them out until
Okay,
later.
well, that's
Whichever.
very nice
I
of you,
think
and
that-
I
I agree.
appreciate that, and I also think it's good that we can think together and do
It's
what
good we have
gotta do.
Byram, because where would we be without Byram?
Well, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to be.
No,
difficult.
no,
I'm
I
just
appreciate
saying
what
that,
you did,
know,
yeah.
There's been a lot of work put into this town over the last few
Yeah.
decades. It's a beautiful town. It's, you know, and I'm not even saying these aren't appropriate or that they would be approved. It's just
I know.
that, you know, I just think a
Follow the
fundamental
rules.
principle, these
I
things have
do,
to come
yeah.
before this
I
board so
think
that
you're,
we have this.
I think you're making very good sense.
I
yeah.
completely concur, so
Right,
yeah,
I
you're
mean,
good. I mean,
absolutely.
no, because he's, I see him out there taking pictures every morning, so,
My
yeah.
my husband said he's the bad cop, I'm the good cop.
But that said,
We're a
no,
team.
yeah, we'll certainly do that, and make sure we're all on the same page, because,
Yes.
yeah, that's why, one thing I stress to folks when they, sometimes people will call me, they're like, look, even the town follows the rules, we have to follow the rules.
Oh, and true, and that's another point that we need to make sure of, is that people don't think that we're, relaxing things just for the town.
No, we.
No, and I know I know we don't, but, that's another reason why we need to do that, anyway. So, good,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Okay, all right,
So we do need to really hammer down a date for Preservation Day,
all right,
because that's getting close to it.
okay.
I know we've always tried to make sure it doesn't conflict with the Highlands Festival, usually it's been after.
Last year was toward the end of October.
Was in October.
But
and
we
I
did
had to
kind of run
leave.
the risk of it being a little cold.
Yeah, so if you're open to it, for me to look into some dates, and we're looking maybe to do this as a multi-day thing,
Uh-huh,
that I can throw out some dates there that would work, and then,
okay,
we
and
decide
send them
when-
around?
Yes.
Okay.
We decide
Yeah, and
when.
Amanda, would you make a note to let him know when, like, fall break is? Do you happen to know that? for the
Yeah, I
schools?
don't know when, let me look and see.
And I know that, like, we have Columbus Day on October 13. We don't want to run into the week before.
No, I would make sure to look ahead of all those kind of off dates.
Okay.
One more thing,
Yeah.
before we adjourn, is the training that I sent to you about how
Yes.
historic buildings meet with building codes. You're more than happy to register for that and just watch it out of your house or the office or whatever, because it's a webinar.
Okay.
Going to what Payne asked me about AIA credits, I don't think that one does, but I have another one for specifically windows and how they're repaired, replaced.
That would be a
And I
great
think
one.
that offered AIA credit, Payne, so if you're interested in that one, I can look into that. I
That'd be
just
a
got
good
that
one
today,
for us
so.
too, anyway, that
We
would be a
need
good
that
one
one.
for us, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up since Payne asked me that, and
Okay.
Almost hit you.
that might be one there for you. But other than that, that's all I have.
All right.
In terms of that.
Can we
make a
can we-
motion
can
to
we-
adjourn?
I thought we already
Motion,
had one.
motion, no, we
I'll
have a
make-
motion to.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I already did.
Oh, sorry, I'll second it.
Second it, okay.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
All right.